So I'm here outside the King Power Stadium for Matchweek 18 in the Barclays Women's Super League. It's Leicester hosting Brighton in what is a must-win game for both of these struggling sides. Let's start with the Foxes then, because they are rooted to the bottom of the WSL table with 9 points and only 9 goals scored, 35 conceded in 17 matches. Now, while things are looking bleak, their form can certainly be attributed to injuries. There's about 8 players out of this game, and that excludes the players who are hopefully going to be returning for their first minutes in a while. So lots of long-term injuries for Leicester and a big game for them today. Now, the head coach Rick Passmore is adamant the side will not be the team to finish bottom of the table and take on that relegation playoff. So they need to start getting points on the board. 5 more games for the Foxes to go. They've got some difficult oppositions coming up, including Arsenal, Chelsea, London City Lionesses and Everton. So it seems like if they're going to get a victory, it's going to be against the Seagulls. Now, in January, Leicester did make 5 signings to show their intent to stay up, and that included former Aston Villa winger and FC Como winger in Alicia Lehmann. Now, she scored here last weekend against Aston Villa in a 2-1 defeat for the Foxes and will be looking to continue her form. Missy Goodwin also made her first start for the side since a long-term injury last weekend and is also intent on setting herself personal goals and also helping toward the team goal of staying up. So plenty of players for them returning alongside Australian international and Asian Cup second place player in Emily Van Egmond. The midfielder returns for this game, and also Naomi Mouchon, the injured striker with a knee injury recently, may also be able to return and make some minutes today alongside centre-back Sari Keys. So Leicester will be buoyed by that, and also by the fact that Brighton are struggling themselves. They haven't won a league game since January in a 1-0 victory at Goodison Park against Everton. So the side struggling for form and struggling to score goals. Last weekend they suffered a stalemate against Liverpool in a 0-0 draw. Now, thankfully for the side, they do have 2 players from the Asian Cup returning today. It seems the fixture may come too early for right-back Charlie Rule, who played for Australia at the Asian Cup, but the 2 Asian Cup winners in Japanese winger Kiko Seike and also centre-back Mweka Minami should be returning to the side. And that will be a pleasant surprise for Albion fans, because Kiko Seike has the most goals for Albion this season. She's scored 6 and been Brighton's talisman in all competitions. So a really big match for Brighton, and they'll be pleased to have her back. So that's all your team news and the form. But my prediction for this one, I think I'm going to go for a 2-1 Leicester win. I think they may just nick it. Last time out here at the King Power Stadium, it was a 3-2 victory to the Foxes, so maybe they can continue that winning form in what would be a massive win in their boost for survival. So that's my prediction, and let's see what happens here today at the King Power.
That's the thing, we want to try to get as many people into goal scoring opportunities. So in the first half we probably just didn't have enough when we did have the good play. Cross comes in, really good cross, and then we just don't have the people. We're sort of outside the box. So we need that now, that, you know, all the good play is almost worthless if it doesn't get finished off, you know. So at the end, that's what matters, is the goals and not conceding goals. So again, for us, another clean sheet, really good defensive performance, and now we need to, again, in the opponent's box, that we, you know, there's a desperation to get there to put the good play away.
So it's full time here at the King Power Stadium for Matchweek 18 in the Women's Super League, and Brighton have managed to clinch a 1-0 victory over the flailing Foxes. They continue to remain bottom of the Women's Super League table and staring a relegation playoff fixture in the face. Rick Passmore's side not having much joy at all in front of goal, and it continues to be a common trope for his side despite several changes in that second half as they tried to force a late goal against the Albion. But Brighton were dominant and deserved all 3 points here. It's just their 4th away victory, so they don't come often for the Seagulls, but this will hopefully buoy them ahead of a tough game that they've got against Arsenal in the FA Cup. But I'll come on to that later. Let's start with the winning goal. So in the 48th minute, Kiko Seike at the far post, tapping home for the Albion after some one-touch football and a lovely layoff from Rosa Kafaji across the face of goal. And as I say, Kiko Seike continues to be the talisman for the Albion. 7 goals now to her name, and with the chances she's had for Albion in each game, arguably could have scored more. but they all count, and a very important winner for the Japanese international on her return from, of course, Asian Cup victory and glory against Australia. So that was how Brighton got the 1-0 victory, but plenty of chances in the first half which just went awry. In the 12th minute, Seike having an acrobatic improvised finish which nearly went in. It was initially a poor clearance from right back Ashley Neville for Leicester, fell to the Japanese international, and she tried to hook it with her back to goal towards, as I say, the goal and past Janina Leicester, but instead hit the outer side netting. Other chances came for Madison Haley, her deflected strike being saved in the end quite comfortably by Janina Leicester, who had several saves to make in that first half. And also Maisie Simons, her free kick going over the bar from the top left corner. The best chance though for Leicester throughout the entire match, you'd say, was through Alicia Lehmann, who looked lively, but also her end product certainly wasn't there today, unlike last weekend when she scored her first goal for the Foxes in that 2-1 defeat here against Aston Villa. Alicia Lehmann burst past Marissa Lagers on the flank, but failed to really provide the cut back to Shannon O'Brien, made the angle difficult for the striker, and the Foxes player fired into the outer side netting. So close for Leicester, but yet so far, and that continues to be the common trope for Rick Passmore's side, although I'm sure he'll continue to be positive about them trying to stay up, although it seems like a very tough feat for them now. But for Brighton, looking higher up the table, and the 3 points weren't always guaranteed. Leicester did have some late consecutive corners and flurries of attacks after they made several changes. So Brighton, as I say, not putting the contest out of the Foxes' reach, even though they really should have in the second half. They had chances again through, this time Maisie Simon. She had a shot, a long-range speculative effort really, and also Seike, her long-range effort being saved by Janina Leicester before another effort she dragged just wide of the bottom right. But as I say, Leicester did bring the changes and saw it make a nervy finish. The changes included Naomi Mouchon returning from her knee injury to make her first few minutes for the Foxes, along with Olivia McLaughlin, the midfielder, and Rachel Williams and Rosella Ayan. Now, Rachel Williams, she made her 200th WSL appearance here today, played for the likes of Manchester United, Tottenham, Chelsea, and even returning now to Leicester, who she started her career with in the academy. So a lovely day for her, but unfortunately not the result to go with it. So the Foxes suffered that 1-0 defeat in the end, Brighton getting it over the line, their 4th win away of the season. So they don't come often, but an important one at that for the side, who now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, travel to Arsenal for a big FA Cup fixture. It's the quarter-finals at Meadow Park, so I'll be there for that one, co-commentating again for BBC Radio Sussex, as I was today. But a great day out here for all the Seagulls supporters who just saw the players get onto the coaches they have now left. Sad news though actually for Seagull fans who were waiting to maybe get a photo with the captain Maisie Simons. She was in a boot, so quickly hurried on to the coach. Hopefully the boot doesn't mean that she's got, you know, a long-term injury. And also I spoke to Dario after the game, and he said Manuela Venegas was due to start, the left-sided centre-back, but unfortunately an injury in her knee meant that she couldn't feature today in the Matchday squad. So hopefully Venegas and Simons will be better in due course, but at least the Seagulls come away with all 3 points and move up the table into 6th.